Good afternoon guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a lovely day. I think I literally get about 100 DMs a day asking me how I edit my photos on Instagram, so I figured I would make a little video about it and hopefully it answers all your questions. But obviously if I do miss anything, just let me know in the comments below and I will definitely answer it for you once this video is live. So anyways, I'm just going to get started as I feel like we have a lot to get through. So to start off with, you guys often ask me who takes my photos for Instagram, so it really does depend on what I'm shooting and where I am and all the rest of it. If I'm traveling with some friends or I'm with Nick or something like that, obviously whoever I'm with on that day, I will just ask them to take the photo for me. And if I'm at home and I'm just taking content at home, then it would definitely be either self-timer or a mirror selfie, or I would get my brother or my mum to help me. My brother is definitely not a huge fan of helping me with photos, and neither is Nick, but I can usually bribe both of them with food or something of that variety, so I will do that if I need to, but otherwise I will usually just attempt to take the photos on a self-timer if I can, or in a mirror selfie, which you guys obviously see on my Instagram all the time. But as you guys probably already know, the person who helps me take the majority of my photos is definitely Jackie. She is also an influencer and a content creator herself, so it's really great catching up and being able to help each other with photos. So that is very convenient, and she also lives very close to me, as I've told you guys before, so it is really helpful just having someone who lives nearby who does this exact same job as I do, and it definitely makes it a lot easier getting photos of my outfit every single day. So before I go on, I wanted to talk about the two categories of content that I create for my Instagram page, just so you guys are across the two different categories. So the first category of content that I create for my Instagram page is my sponsored content, which I do in collaboration with brands. So this is where I would get paid to collaborate with the brand and create content for my social media channels, but usually also for their social media channels. This might include a handful of stories, a couple of Instagram posts, and it might also include some additional content for their digital marketing or for their web or EDM or really whatever they are requiring for that particular job. So in this instance, it's kind of difficult to talk about how I would create the content or how I would edit that content, because it really does just depend on the brief that I've received from the brand. So it is usually quite dictated by what their messaging is or what their requirements are for that specific campaign, so it is always very different. In that instance, I might use my iPhone X to take the photos, which is what I use for pretty much all of my content on my Instagram page. But I might also use a film camera or my Polaroid camera or a professional camera. It just really depends on what is actually required for that specific job. The second category of content that I create for my Instagram page, and I guess this is the majority of the content you guys see on a daily basis, and that is obviously not sponsored, and it is just my everyday outfits and the highlights of my day and what I'm getting up to and that kind of thing. So that is obviously inclusive of the Instagram stories that I put up every day, as well as the outfit photo and all the rest of it that goes with that. So yeah, those are the two categories of content that I have going live on my Instagram page all the time. And I think today I'm mainly going to be talking about the non-sponsored organic content that I post on Instagram every day, as I feel like that is what you guys are most interested in hearing about. So the next question that I often get asked is how I pose in my photos. I would say that I don't really have a very good answer for that, but I'm going to try my best to answer this question. So pretty much I would say how I take my photos or how I pose in my photos is that I just try and be as natural and organic to how I would act and pose in real life, if that makes sense. So I guess if I wouldn't do some ridiculous pose or sit in a really specific way in real life, then I probably wouldn't do that in a photo either. Even if I am just literally taking a mirror selfie or something like that, I will sort of just pose in a way and stand in a way that just feels natural. I won't try and position myself in a way that feels really forced. And I guess that's sort of the key to making your photos feel a little bit more candid. It is just about trying to be really natural in front of the camera. And I think given I have literally been taking photos of my outfit and posting them on the internet for probably over 5 years now, I think you do slowly start to get the hang of it, and you definitely do start to feel a lot more comfortable in front of the camera. I mean, I think 5 years ago I was so embarrassed every time I asked someone to help me take a photo, and I was particularly so embarrassed to take photos in public. I never wanted anyone to see me taking a photo, whereas now I am the opposite. I genuinely could not care less who is watching me take photos. I'm obviously only now starting to get used to vlogging in public, because this is kind of still relatively new to me, but yeah, obviously it does take some getting used to, and I understand that you're just starting to take photos of your outfits and you're starting to post things on Instagram. It can definitely be very daunting, and I would say that the best way to get over it is just to keep pushing through it, because it does get easier. I think that after doing it for a couple of years, you will start to realize that it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks. Just do it. If you want to take a photo of your outfit, absolutely just go ahead and do it. I'm now going to answer how I edit my photos for Instagram. So I would say that the first and the most important thing about editing photos for Instagram is actually the lighting that you take the photos in. So for me personally, I like photos to feel quite flat, and I don't like them to be really harsh with different angles and colors and lighting settings and all that sort of thing. I like everything to just feel really flat and really, I guess, quite simple and quite minimal. That's sort of just my style, and that is sort of how I dress, and I guess that is also how I shoot photos. It just feels the most natural to me to do this. Pretty much I will only take photos during the day, so it's say midday or 1 p.m. or whatever. If it is a completely overcast day, which it actually is majority of the time in Melbourne because the weather here is crap, as you guys know. But if it is not an overcast day and it's a really sunny day, I pretty much will not take photos until the late afternoon or early evening. Come the middle of summer, I am literally taking photos at about 8 p.m. at night, because that is the time where I like the lighting the most, as it can just be too bright and too hot during the day to get the kind of images that I like and that I guess resonate with me the most. I think that if your lighting is good, then you barely have to edit the photo. In fact, I actually don't like to edit the photo too much, as I find that by editing it heaps and by putting different filters and processes on it, not only does the photo start to feel really unnatural, it also starts to lose its quality. I like photos to really feel as close to the moment as you can capture. So for my Instagram stories, I pretty much don't edit them at all. It is just really from my camera roll straight onto Instagram. I don't really touch them, but for my Instagram photos, I will edit them ever so slightly. So to start off with, there are two editing apps that I use to edit my photos. So the first one is Lightroom, and then the second one is VSCO. So pretty much I will use Lightroom if there is something in the image that I would like to change the color of in the image. So whether it be the white t-shirt that I'm wearing has become a little bit blue because of the lighting, or whether the photo is a bit too yellow or it's a bit too orange or red. Often red shows up in photos, I'm not sure why. I will use Lightroom to take this color out. If the colors in the photo are literally perfect and they do not require any editing, then I will probably just use VSCO and I will just make the same adjustments that I would have made on Lightroom on VSCO instead. I'm just going to open up Lightroom here, but as I said, you could do this on either VSCO or Lightroom, as I'm just going to be adjusting the light here. I'm not going to be adjusting the colors, as that kind of just depends on the photo, and I don't always adjust the colors. So I've picked a photo that I have recently worn on my Instagram page already. As you can see, this photo is straight from my camera roll. I have not yet adjusted the lighting or anything from this photo. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the lighting. So I'm going to reduce the exposure just a little bit so that it feels a little bit moodier and not as bright. I think that by reducing the exposure ever so slightly, the photo feels a little bit more sharp. The details also feel a little bit clearer, so this is why I like to do that. I also will reduce the highlight a little bit, again, only a tiny bit. I think this step really helps bring down the brightness of the top, or if I'm wearing a white t-shirt, that kind of thing, it definitely helps with that step. And the last step is that I will go into the temperature setting and I will slightly add a tiny bit of warmth to the photo. I think I usually only do +2 or +5, so really not a lot. But pretty much this just adds a nice sort of healthy glow to my skin, and it also just makes it look a little bit more warm or vibrant, I guess, to some degree. So yeah, that is what I will do there. Then I will just export this image from the app, and that will be ready to go on my Instagram. So the last question I'm going to answer today is how I keep a cohesive vibe on my feed. I personally don't think my feed is actually that cohesive. I think that the colors go together quite well, and that's mainly because I don't really post that much color. You guys know my wardrobe is primarily made up of neutrals, and I don't really wear that much color except for blue denim and that kind of thing. I guess the answer to how to create a cohesive feed is that it's just a matter of, if you're constantly wearing similar colors, it will just look naturally quite cohesive. I use the app Preview. I would definitely recommend downloading that app if you would like to see what is going to go on your feed next before you post it. It pretty much just allows you to bring up your entire Instagram page on the app, and then you can add whatever photos you are considering posting on Instagram, and you can just play around with them and see the order and how it all looks together, and if you feel like it works or it doesn't work, obviously adapt it before you post it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend downloading that app if you want to make sure that your feed looks cohesive and it all goes together. So I know this is potentially a controversial slash unpopular opinion. I feel like caring too much about your feed definitely hinders your creativity because you're too worried about what photo is going to go next on the feed. I think that it's actually better to just shoot content throughout the day, or shoot content in however way that you're planning to do so, and just post it whenever you like to post it, and don't worry so much about whether everything goes perfectly with your feed. That is obviously just my opinion. I do think it is still nice to keep relatively consistent colors, but I think that you can do that without over analyzing or without forcing random filler photos and all the rest of it, just to keep a really cohesive feed. Obviously that is just my opinion and definitely does not mean it's correct or anything like that. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think. Hopefully I answered all your questions, and if you think there is anything that I missed, please just let me know in the comments below and I will absolutely answer the question for you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!